Welcome to part 2 for the vendor listing, for the pro vendor listing. Like I said in the last video, if you purchase the plugin, the upgrade for the professional vendor listing that's integrated with PayPal, this is the video for you. If you have not, then please watch the other video on actual making a manual update, a manual listing for your vendor's site. Okay, so I showed you in the previous previous video, your account section, where this was, what it did, and the basic information on the in the admin panel. Okay, so what I want to show you next is the actual inner workings within the admin and how this is updated and controlled and things like that. First, what we want to do is create categories. So, for instance, if you're doing a wedding site and you're listing vendors that are associated with the wedding business, you want to make those categories. So to do that, what we want to do is come to the vendor section, vendor categories. And in here, you're going to upload your thumbnail, like we see right here on this side right here. The category name, such as photography, if I can spell, photography or weddings or cakes or whatever, you're going to enter your category here. Once you're set, go ahead and click Add a Category, and what you will see is it added over here. Alright? And then back to the front end, once you've added that, you'll see your thumbnail appear with the name of the category below that. As well as we can order it, so if we uploaded, for instance, catering, and we didn't want this to be the first one listed, like it is right here, this is the first, maybe we want it last, we can change the order. So I'm going to make this a 6. Because it's last, and make 6 0, because that's first. I'm going to update order. Come back to the front end, refresh this. Now, catering is last, wedding dress designer is first. So that's pretty easy to do. I'll go ahead and change this back to like it was. Update. Okay, next thing we're going to see is actual vendors. So if someone has come to your account and your website and they purchased a listing, a purchased account, their ordering information is going to automatically pop up here. So you can see their name, when their account expires, things like this. You can actually see their profile and then the payments they've made. Have they paid? Are they paid up? What's the PayPal transaction, which we'll see right here. The amount, things like that. So pretty easy and pretty basic to understand. Okay, so how do we integrate all this? How do we set all this up? Well, the bulk of it, the majority of it, is actually done in the options panel. So under the general tab, we're going to see a section for vendors. Let's go ahead and click this. First thing is the PayPal email. This only works if you have a PayPal account. Alright, so if you don't have a PayPal account, you need to sign up and you need to take care of that with PayPal. You need a business account for this to work. Please don't send me requests or emails or anything as far as support with PayPal. That's up to you and you setting it up on their end. Once you do have a PayPal account, if you do have one, you're going to enter in your PayPal email address, whatever email you've used to sign up with them. You enter that information in there. Next is going to be your PayPal token ID. You're going to need to enter this so that it knows where this transaction is taking place and who it's for. As far as PayPal token ID and how to obtain that, please just do a Google search on how to obtain your PayPal token ID. You'll find plenty of tutorials out there that show you how to do it. It's pretty easy. You can do it all within your account. Next is your pricing. If you remember a little bit earlier, I showed you 2 pricing plans when we were logged into the account and what the fees were. And just to go over those real quick, I'll show them to you again. Click on your account, payments. And what we see are the 2 membership plans, a year and 2 years, 1 penny, 2 pennies. You change that right here. Okay, next section, and this is probably where it's going to be, take a little bit to kind of follow along. We got to enter in pages of where this actual content is stored and where it's pulling from. So the first is your PayPal page, your account page ID. So we see 45. All right, well, that's this page right here. The account. So how do we get the ID number? If you're familiar with WordPress, you probably already know the answer to this and you probably could skip ahead. If not, what we want to do is go to the Pages section and find the page that you've set up to be the account overview page. I went ahead and called it account overview page. It's easy to understand. I can follow it. It makes sense. Okay, so if I click this and I come into this particular section, if I look up, I'm going to see a number right here that says 73. That's where your ID number comes from. Okay, that's where your ID number comes from. So any of these sections, any of these sections that are asking for ID numbers, that is where you can buy where you can find your ID number at. Okay, so if I scroll down, I know I just said account page ID, but if I come down to account overview, you'll see 73. That's the actual ID for the page. All right, so if I come back and look at login page ID, we'll see 42. Okay, so if I come and click on pages again, and I see, let's see, where are we? Login. If I click this, what am I going to see? I'm going to see a 42. Alright, that's my ID number. Now, we're probably getting a little bit lost. How are we setting up these pages? When do we create them? What are we calling them? I'm going to cover that real quick. Let's, for instance, take the login page. Call this whatever you want to call it. Login, sign in, register, whatever it may be. Login to me makes sense. Easiest to understand. When you make this page, this area does not need to be filled out. It could be totally blank. We do not need content here. Give it your name. But what's really important is on the right, under page attributes, is we actually select the login page template. You see this? The login page template must be selected. Once you've created this page, take your ID number that's up here, come to the theme options panel, plug it in for that section. Okay? And the same thing for all the other areas. There are going to be drop downs for these particular listings. So for instance, let's check out the vendor's category page ID. Okay? So let's go back up to pages. We'll see vendor and vendors. Let's click vendor. And when I come in here, what am I going to see? A template selection. I'm going to see vendor category. So this is my vendor category. So basically you're just going to do a matchup. You're making your vendor category page. Just to make sure you understand, this is the vendor category page. It's listing, it's showing your categories. This one is the actual individual vendors per category. Okay, so right here we're talking about, on the back end right now, what I'm talking about is the actual category. So we name that template category. So give it your name, choose your template, which is category, and then once you've done that and saved it, you'll be able to grab your ID and pop that in. And when you're making this section, just simply follow along. If I'm coming back to theme options, I'll see one for login page. I'll see one for account page, account overview, vendor categories, vendor listings. All right? So follow these along and match these up when you're making your pages. So if you're making a page for your vendor categories, your vendor listing, or whatever the case may be, when you're making your page, simply match it up with a drop-down. We have vendor categories, we have vendor profile, we have login. Those will match with those particular categories here. As long as these match up, you should be okay. Okay, so just to double check and go over this one more time, your PayPal address, your PayPal token ID, your pricing, and then each individual page ID for your account, for your login, for your account overview, for your categories, etc. and etc. The very bottom is your system's email address. Basically, this is what appears in the email headers when they make a purchase. So if they've come onto your account, they're signing up for your listing, they're getting a response back. Do you want to list your email address for them to reply back to? Typically, people want to do a no reply. They don't want to get a reply back to actual signing up. Once you've made your change, go ahead and hit Save Options, and you should be all set and good to go. All right, that'll do it for the vendor section. And again, I covered 2 videos, so if this is the second video and you missed the first one, be sure to watch that one before you watch this one.